Good evening, and welcome back to another edition of Building Community One Idea at a Time, where uh, we get together and share a couple of stories and learn from each other and learn different things. So this week's guests, we have Betsy and CJ, and they're going to both kind of share a story and kind of ask them some questions about it and find out what's going on. So, Betsy, just to start off with, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience and who you are?
Well, my name is Betsy, and I learned about little people from my grandma and my mother through conversations. And how it started out was that we were sitting at the campfire in my mom's backyard, and we saw something rustle around in the back corner, and I go, "Oh, that must be a little person or little people." Mom goes, "Yeah, it could be because we have them." And I'm going, "We do?" I says, "You're not joking." She says, "No, we have little people here." I says, "They're always watching us at nighttime if we're outside." And she was telling me a story where she used to work at the restaurant up front on the island, and she would be walking home, and she would, instead of walking around the concession, the large blocks, she decided she was going to cut through the forest. And she remembered that the forest could be pretty scary at night, especially if there's no moon. And she started walking on the path that cut through the bush from one road to the next. And halfway through, she started hearing this rustling sound and leaves, and then she heard giggles, and they were getting closer, and she was starting to freak out. And she said, "I was trying to decide, do I run or do I keep walking at a calm pace?" And she could hear them talking, but she didn't know what language they were. And but they were still giggling and that, and she said, "I stayed on the path." She said, "Stay on the path." And she finally got fed up. She turned around and she says, "Quiet, I'm late, I have to go home." And they all went silent, but they still followed her through the bush all the way home. And they didn't bother her at all, but they were just making lots of noise just to try and get her excited. And she made, she came home and she said, "That's the last time I'm going to do that." She said, "I was so scared." And another time, when we were little, grandma and the grandmothers and mothers would take us kids out to the marsh where we picked sweetgrass. And at that time we were approaching the grasses, and my mom says, "Hey, look over there, there's a little person." And I was like up to my knees, like an adult knee, maybe 2 feet tall, and they had furs on them. They were using reeds and that for part of their clothing and their shoes. And their hair was like a huge rat nest, a really bad afro. And Grandma goes, "No, stop here, stop, because we don't want to scare them, because they say it's bad luck to even see a little person in the daylight, really." And we proceeded we just stopped, and we were just watching them, and they were picking sweetgrass and long grass for weaving or basket making. And so we decided, just to wait and let them leave on their own and not make a sound, and let them naturally go on their way. And so after that, we went in and we started picking sweetgrass, and Grandma says, "Now before we leave, we have to leave tobacco as a gift to them, and to let them know, we are here at peace, and we're sharing this area to survive and get what we need. And so that's what we did. But it was a really interesting experience, and something I'll never forget. And that's my story about little people.
Very good. You said you were kind of looking at them. Was there anything that you can kind of compare them to from what you kind of saw to something else that we might see, like another creature or something? Is it comparable?
I don't know. I wouldn't know what to compare them to, other than like leprechauns or fairy people. Uh, but they were a little bit bigger than that. Um, they're not like little tiny people like that, but they were like up to about 2 feet tall. Um, they look like adults. Um, I didn't see any children there. There was only about 4 or 5 of them, and they were just gathering, like what we do. Um, yeah, it was extraordinary experience. That's all I could say. Just standing there watching them.
You,
But on the reserve, we see a lot of strange things, and you know we respect them and accept them as they are, and we don't meddle with them. We let them live their lives, and that's how we keep the peace.
very good. Did you have any other experiences or encounters with them, or
No, that was the last time I saw them. That was the last time I saw them.
do you think they were there to kind of give you a message or to warn you or anything like that? Or
No, they were basically just minding their own business and cutting reeds, cutting sweetgrass. Um, they didn't do a lot. Um, I think it just did like the handful bundles for each, and they just left. And grandma, I'm surprised they didn't even see us, but I think we just stopped in time not to disturb them, and we just stood there and you know remained really quiet, not to scare them off.
oh, that makes sense. Well, thanks for sharing that story. It's very goes with other stories you've heard. CJ, you said you had
Yes,
a story too.
Oh yes. Hello. Can you hear me? You can hear me good?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My name is CJ Christian Monias. I'm from Chisasibi, Quebec, Cree Nation of Chisasibi. Yeah, I don't necessarily have any little people stories, but I do remember when I was younger, like I would hang out with my friend and we would play like Ninja Turtles at his grandma's place, and she would always tell us not to go at the back because the back was a very wooded area, and like that's the only like like little people story because like she would just say, "Don't go back there. There's little people back there, and they're gonna come." But yeah, I also have like that's pretty much my only story with the little people, like my only like recollection of being young and being told about little people. But I do have like another experience, kind of like a very like odd experience when I was a teenager. Not with little people, but with a Windigo. And like at the time, I had no idea what a Windigo was. I never even heard of them or anything. So when I was a teenager, me and my friends used to hang out behind these boats. It's behind like a group home, and there's just these boats there, and it's kind of like a small wooded area. So we would hang out there in the evenings, and we would just just like hang out. And well, one night where it was kind of like getting like dark time, like real dark, like I think it was like for sure the sun was down and it was dark out and the street lights were on, and we were just hanging out by those boats. And then out of nowhere, like they're like in front of those boats, there's like a building, and then in front of that building there's a long main road that just goes all the way through town. And then all of it, like while we were just sitting there, we heard like a bunch of dogs barking coming, like it sounded like loud, like it was coming like a little bit from far. And the dog, like as if there was like a bunch of dogs chasing something. And then we were just like just like, just like hanging out, chilling, talking, making jokes, stuff like that. And then when we heard those dogs barking, like everybody just stopped and like looked towards that direction, and like the dog barking was getting closer and closer. And then and in front of that road, there's also like a big cemetery where it's like completely dark. There's like no street light on in front of that cemetery. So like we just looked down that road in front of the cemetery, and then like you just see like this dark figure coming, like it's running, like it's just running like towards, like down the road a little bit close to where we were. And then and what we thought it was just like dogs, dogs running, and running in a pack or something. And then we just saw like one thing, like one animal. And we thought it was a dog, like it looked like a dog. And then it just kept, like as it was getting closer and like running a bit towards us, it started like turning a bit towards us. And the dog started looking like a wolf, like it looked big, like it started getting bigger. And then we're like, oh, that's a wolf, we got to get out of here. And then we just kept like at like looking at it, observing it, and it looked bigger as it kept getting closer. And then like we're like, okay, it's not a wolf, it's too big to be a wolf now. And then it started looking like a bear. And then it started just like kind of like standing up like on its two legs. And then we're like, okay, that's not a wolf. And then why? And then it's like it looks like a bear now, because like sometimes bears can like walk on their two legs. And then it just kept coming towards us, and as it was getting closer towards us, it just started like smelling like skunk for no reason. Like we're just like wondering like what, like a bad stench of skunk, like a really bad stench of skunk, like a strong stench of skunk. So it just kept like going towards us, and like kind of going like kind of like curving like towards us. And then that's when we started like panicking, freaking out, like, okay, this thing is coming right towards us. And then we all like running like towards like the clusters where like the street lights were, just so like we could be like towards the light. And we all just started like running like in a frenzy. So and then as I looked back, I looked back, and then that thing was like just like right there. It was like super tall. It was like 8 feet tall. Like my friend I have a friend who was there. He was like 6'4" or 6'5", and that thing was like way taller than him. Like it had a few more feet on him. And we looked, like we looked back. We all made it to like this little porch area where my friend's house was. And we all looked back, and we were all like, did you see that, did you see that? It's like, you all saw that, right? We all saw that. And then we turned around, and that the whatever that thing was, it like it kind of like went back onto the road, to the main road, I guess, because it just wanted to like kind of scare us or come towards us. But it kind of just like went back into the onto the main road. So and then like it still smelled like skunk. And then as it was getting further, you could just hear the dogs barking again, like as if it was being chased down. And then suddenly you just didn't hear it, and we were all just like kind of shook. It was dark, we were in front of our friend's house. We are just like, what just happened? What was that? Why did it smell like skunk? Why did it look like three different animals? And then I've always kept that story with me, like without, like I had no idea what a Wendigo was. And it wasn't until recently that I told that story to a friend of mine. And like probably just a few years ago. And like I just like just a few years ago, I figured out what a Wendigo was. And I told them exactly that story, and then that person was like, oh, that sounds like a Wendigo. So I searched it up online. I searched up like the Google images, I searched up the Wikipedia. And it was exactly like, if you look at the pictures of the Wendigo, it can like shapeshift. It's also been described as looking like a big moose with antlers, or a bear hybrid with a moose, or something like that. And like when I was looking at the pictures, it was just like, oh, now it's bringing back like the like what I saw. And then I started reading more about it. And it's like, yeah, it's seen in like indigenous communities, and by especially by young kids. And and then it just like all the pieces came together when that person just said like, yeah, that was a Wendigo. and then I was just like, and then for now, like, and up until now, I'm just like, that's my whole paranormal experience with the Windigo, and I was like, oh, and I was like, I have a pretty crazy experience. So yeah, that's a lot of that's my Windigo story.
Well, that's a pretty profound story too. And do you think the Wendigo is trying to kind of give you a message, or is
Like when I was reading about the Windigo was that like it kind of comes around when like kind of kids are misbehaving, or I don't know, it comes around when like their kids are like up to no good apparently. And we were kind of like, like we would like we were young and we were like teenagers, so like we were behind there like smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. And just like, just kicking it. And I kind of think that's what kind of brought on, because that's what kind of brought it upon us, was that we were just like, doing stuff like that up late, being in Cree, as they call it, yayimsu, is it means like misbehaving. So like, yeah, we were kind of like wild teenagers back then. So I kind of think that's what kind of brought it upon us, just to like bring that scare into us. So I always think about that.
did you get rid of some of that wild misbehaving because of
Yeah,
it?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I'm much, I'm trying to I'm doing much better with my life now, I'm just like learning, being more respectful of things, and I'm trying not to I don't smoke cigarettes anymore.
Like, especially Wendigos are coming to
Y-
check you out if you're smoking. That's a
yeah, exactly.
I know you both were kind of sharing those stories during our class times. Did that help you kind of connect to other students and hear some of their stories?
Yeah, it really did, because like especially like the little people stories, when I hear them, I'm like, because like I hear similar stories, but they're not my stories, but I hear kind of like similar stories where like about, and it does make me feel connected. Like we all have like a shared experience that we don't know, that we have no idea what it is, because like I'm also like a very skeptical person when it comes to like paranormal stuff and stuff like that. But when you see something like that, it just puts you in a place where like, okay, I have to really like think and be more aware of what I do now. But it does put us like in a circle where, yeah, we're all like we all had these experiences before. Everybody has their own like paranormal experience that they can't explain.
How about you, Betsy? How did kind of sharing the stories help you connect to the other students?
Oh, I found a lot of similarities. Like CJ, he's way up north in Quebec, and we have similar stories down my reserve on Walpole Island. Um, it's south. It's like 40 minutes south of Sarnia, and it, all the stories seem to be similar in some form. Like Windigo, we know it's a shapeshifter. Um, the little people. Uh, there's other ones, skinwalkers we've heard of. Yeah, we've heard all kinds of stories there. Even also that where there were some native groups that were um into dark stuff on the reserve, just to, I guess, to further themselves financially. I don't know, but that's what we heard about that too. So it's I guess legends. They these things were on the land before we got here, so we have to sort of keep the peace, respect them. If they require space, we give it to them. And if they're trying to teach us a lesson, they'll come out and they'll show us if we're not treating the land properly.
Yeah, for sure. Like what
Hmm.
I like for me too, what like how it connects me too is like, because like when you hear about these stories, sometimes it comes from elders, and like these are the elders' experiences, and then you think like, oh, these things only happened a long time ago, but then it happens to you, and then like, okay, these legends are still happening to like us today. So like, so it just puts us in that. It also puts us in that whole timeline where like, yeah, these legends are still happening today, and I'm pretty sure like there's younger kids having their experiences, and that just like, it really connects us, like like it'll connect me to like elders that also had the same experience that they probably like had like long time ago. And for me that was like 10 years ago that happened.
Yeah, and it kind of
Uh,
recently is what you're saying.
Yeah.
a long time ago. Uh, no, this, my father told me this about my grandfather. Um, he used to live off the land, and he lived in a log cabin, and drinking. He drank a lot. He was an alcoholic, and Dad told me one time he fell asleep behind a house just on the edge of the bush, and when he woke up, patches of clothing were missing from his shirts and his pants.
Oh my god.
And they looked like there were little cuttings. I go, oh, well, maybe they need that to clothe themselves or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was absolutely funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're in those areas, make sure you're sober, or you're gonna lose something. And always leave tobacco behind, as a respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
You're mentioning the tobacco a couple times. What's the significance of kind of leaving tobacco behind?
I believe it's a medicine. Well, we also use it in smudging, along with cedar, sage, sweetgrass. They're all healing medicines. Tobacco, from what my grandma said, it was powerful because we grew it, came from the land, and we give it as a gift, as an exchange for living in peace, or even a gift. Sometimes, well, they leave you things too. If you leave something out for them in a specific area, they exchange gifts like mushrooms, nuts, leaves. You know, um, I've heard of the little people leaving rabbits and squirrels behind for a gift in exchange for tobacco, or you leave them sage or sweetgrass. So it goes along with our heritage and our stories, from what the elders tell us.
Yeah, from what I heard, like about like little people, that sometimes they're there to help, like especially like when like there's hunters that are lost, like sometimes they'll guide them, they'll provide like little like how do you say that little they'll provide little clues on like where to go, like without directly like talking to you, but they're trying to help, without like really interacting with you. So and in turn, when if they'll take things from you, you just gotta accept it because they yeah, they need, like you said, like they need those things, so it's kind of like a weird mutual relationship that 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 we don't know that we have with them. But they're there, and they're there to they're not there to like cause anything bad. They're just there.
So you're kind of thinking they want like a reciprocal relationship with us, where they kind of, they give us stuff, we give them stuff, kind of leave each other
Yeah.
alone though.
Yeah, something like
Yes.
that.
Okay. Um, as part of the your kind of community class, did you kind of talk about other ways of how to kind of build community with relationships like that?
In
Mm,
regards to little people,
Just little people, other communities, different. How do you have respect
oh
for each other?
oh yeah, like you know, helping each other out, communicating in some form, um, gifting, or even with if you're talking about the people in our immediate area or people that we work with, um, that we build relationships with. Um, it's all about give and take, sharing, helping each other out. Um, you know, that's how I think of a community is or should be. Um, if someone needs help with someone, we or something, we always pitch in to help out, make their lives a little bit better. Um, even if we don't have a lot, we still share. Um,
Yeah.
and that's how I was brought up.
One one thing that I have, like, I'm not sure if you like, if you guys have this, but like it's on my Facebook page. It's called the Cree Paranormal Society, CPS. And there's like 6.6K members, but it's just like, people sharing their like their experiences. So like you can go on here, you can join that page, and you can just see everybody's contribute. Like it's very active because, like, uh, like paranormal stuff and indigenous people, they're like, it's like we like they love that type. They love a good story. So I like, if you it's called the Cree Paranormal Society. It's on Facebook, and like everybody's just sharing their paranormal experiences there, and like you see like similar stories there, and then you kind of want to like chime in with yours too, and like then it brings like that relationship together.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah, so like I'm like just looking through it. I do hear, like, I do see like skinwalkers stories, Windigo stories, people asking like, what is this? Or some people don't even know what they see. They just go on there and like share something that they that they seen, and like sometimes they'll get an answer, sometimes they'll get more stories out of it. But it's just I think it's a really, it's an incredible page.
One last question. What was something that you took away from the your experiences through going through the class and whatnot?
That was
Oh,
really
with the
good.
class? I thought the class was really great. Like everybody, like having, I think everybody's there like with the very like-minded. Everybody's very supportive. Everybody has something to offer to the class. So I really enjoyed the class.
Yeah, I think it's a really a good project or class. It helps us understand uh, how we think, the way we think sometimes. Um, Building that um, relationship, reaching out to each other, making suggestions. We all have a lot of similarities with our stories, our relationships, our neighborhoods. And I really feel for the reserves out there that aren't getting uh, the things they need. It really breaks my heart to hear that they have to evacuate people because they haven't had fresh water in a long time, and that brings them to mind about Grassy Narrows, and that was totally horrible. And that was on uh, Pierre Trudeau's uh, thing. He did that. He put in a dam. You know, Mercury poisoning in the water. So I wish there was a better way to deal with the government other than protesting. But that's the only way we can get their attention, because if we try to talk to them, I think sometimes we get put in a closet. Um,
Yeah.
but I think we're you know, we are gaining knowledge. We're educating ourselves and learning how to work the system. And kudos to all those out there that can do it and have the stamina to deal with the political being that's there. And I absolutely like sharing with everybody, and I think we have a lot of similar um, thoughts in that area. And I certainly hope, you know, the government smartens up and start taking care of their promises to the indigenous people here on the land. Yeah, and I really love sharing stories with everybody and learning about them, and quite the personalities that we have here. I love it. You know, yeah, I think this is amazing project that is going on here, and I hope it takes more speed. I hope it becomes a permanent part of Fanshawe College. I really do. I think we need this. I think we really need this because we are different and we learn different. Uh, that's my comment for now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like cuz like just the whole like idea of like us sharing is like, and we're talking about community, and we're talking about like building strong relationships with ourselves, and I think that's what like a lot, like definitely a lot of communities should be doing right now, and what we're doing right now is like the first of its kind, and we're like hopefully we can like inspire other people to like get together and like, share more stories, because that's like where the strength comes from, is like just finding the common ground, being on the same page, and then we're more comfortable to like bring out more better ideas, and then like it just like, and then like sparks fly, and then we got like a whole big gathering, we have a whole big fire going on. So I think just like building a strong community is just all about getting together and like doing it ourselves, and like we don't really need to like look to the government to like help us, because like we're already like doing it ourselves. We're already banding together, we're already like coming with our ideas. So I really think like it's very important. Like what we're doing right now is just like a good we're building a we're building a nice format, so that hopefully like more schools or more institutions can also follow in what we're doing. And yeah, the whole like I really like this class about like community building, because that's been on my mind a lot. It was like build like, because a lot of these communities need it, where you look at a lot of the communities out there, and this is just like a lot of them like they feel lost because they don't have a good like support, they don't have a good foundation on like what to do. So they're a lot of them are just like waiting around, like waiting, like hoping for something. But no, it all begins like within. It all should begin within, and like someone has to like, and people just have to come together, and like that's where like a good community is built from. It's just us coming together, us getting up and sharing our ideas, sharing our stories, and we get personal, and then we all feel like we're one.
Yeah, I know I've enjoyed the kind of sharing with both of you as part of that, the group, and just kind of learning from each other and sharing those experiences over the last couple of weeks. And it's been kind of like you said, we learn community from each other, right? It's kind of that shared experience and sharing the stories. And
Yeah,
you know,
and it's amazing because like we're all like from different parts. We're all from different parts, but like within weeks, just from sharing and all that, we feel so much closer. We feel like we're friends now. And that's the amazing thing about it.
you know, um, I appreciate you guys taking the time today to share stories and connect. And as we kind of have been doing, like just kind of we are trying to build community one idea at a time. So thanks for joining us, CJ and Betsy, to kind of share some ideas and work on building community. Any closing thoughts? Or
Yes, yeah, just like for people out there listening, just don't be scared to share. Don't be scared to try new things, because this was a new thing to me. It's been a while that I've been taking programs, and especially online, and I think there's just a lot of advancements in technology that we can build communities much better now and more efficiently and from afar. So we need to take advantage of these things that are put in front of us. So that's my take from how to build, like we're able to build communities now from really far. So let's keep doing that.
Yes, I really like that. Yeah, we're building each other up too in this way. We're um, building our confidence, our self-esteem, supporting each other. Like I said, we're building our own little community or connections. And if someone needs help, we are always there to suggest something, something they can try to help them out. And yeah, I really appreciate this program. You know, I really I think this will go far. We keep these building blocks and learn more about technical things like sharing on Zoom or Teams. Um, it's safe right now for everybody, and I think it's a little bit more affordable than traveling or trying to find a place to stay for school. This helps very much, and there's a lot of online programs that we can access through this too. I think it's yeah, I think this is a good thing, a good project.
Yeah, I think it's been great kind of hearing the stories, and look forward to having more conversations and uh, building up ideas and trying to build communities and seeing where the program goes. So thank you both, and miigwech.